This is Vinyl 4, the only podcast out there, Craig, that is really lining up these tough choices. I mean, there's a lot of music podcasts out there that just pontificate and opine about music, but we're making some tough decisions here. And here we go once again. We've been through 15 rounds. We have 15 Vinyl 4s already. Today represents the halfway point for this whole tournament, which is crazy. We talked about this the other day offline. It's hard to believe here we are halfway. I can't believe it. So I'm ready. I get to go first today, which is always fun, but also added pressure.
Yep.
So bring it on.
All right. Starting off with a good matchup here. Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville versus Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Damn the Torpedoes. That's 328 versus 316. So that's a close matchup in their eyes.
Yeah. For some people, this would be a really tough choice. For me, I mean, Tom Petty, early Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, including Damn the Torpedoes, is just absolutely incredible. It's one of my favorite Tom Petty albums. I absolutely can't vote against it. I've actually never been a really big Liz Phair fan. I know that's not a super cool take necessarily. I know a lot of people really love this album. Love, I guess, the boldness of it, the fact that it's kind of a take on Exile on Main Street in some ways, but never really been a huge Liz Phair fan. And it would have to be a massive record to beat out Damn the Torpedoes at this point. So there we go. Damn the Torpedoes all day long.
Agreed. Love that Liz Phair record. Love Whiplash too, but yeah.
All right.
All right, what you got for me?
You have 189 Quicksilver Messenger Service Happy Trails versus 71 Paul Simon Graceland.
This is pretty easy. I've tried on a couple occasions with Quicksilver Messenger Service. I don't dislike it. It's just not something I really connect with. Graceland, just an absolute iconic cultural record. It really brought in a lot of rhythms and some of that just beats and rhythms and just soundtracks that you get from other countries, which is just so nice. And he continued that down that theme for quite a while. So I love the influence of this album, and I just think it's a fantastic album. So I got to go Paul Simon Graceland.
Hard to argue with that.
All right, this might be. It's not the toughest matchup but it's really hard to see one of these fall. And I know which one it's going to be, but that's okay. You have number one, according to this poll, according to this ranking, the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band versus...
Stop. Just stop right there.
Right, 373, the Police Reggatta de Blanc. I know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's just so tough to see Reggatta de Blanc.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a really good album. This was their second album, right? Outlandish was their first record.
Yes.
Which I actually like better. I do love that. That's probably my favorite Police record.
Outlandish?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I love that record.
Okay.
This isn't far behind, but it wouldn't matter. It could be the entire Police discography versus Sgt. Pepper's, and I'm still going to go Sgt. Pepper's. It's one of the greatest albums ever. It's number one for a reason. It's not number one on the latest Rolling Stone list, but it's top 5 all time. I'm not even sure it's not even my favorite Beatles record, but it is. Day in the Life alone, to me, that is one of the greatest songs ever. I don't even know how they were able. Sometimes I listen to the Beatles and I think about the time period, and I'll mention this for another record that we're going to get to in a minute, but I just wonder how in the world did they even come up with some of that stuff? There was no precedent. There was no blueprint. I mean, now there's a blueprint. The Beatles left a pretty good blueprint. Marvin Gaye left a pretty good blueprint.
Right.
The Ramones, the Clash, but how did they come up with some of that stuff? It's an amazing record. I know you love that record too.
Yeah, I mentioned this before on another podcast we do called Revinyl, and I've talked about it several times on Schizophrenic Music. Day in the Life is one of those things where when I bought the reissue of that album, I cried. I teared up because it's just such a beautiful, beautiful album. And that song is just absolutely amazing. The whole album is amazing. I'm not sure it's my favorite. Even though it's probably their best, I can go on record as saying it's got to be tied for one or two, maybe the top 3 albums that they've ever released as far as material. I love me some Rubber Soul. I love Revolver. Absolutely love Revolver. But Sgt. Pepper's was just a magnificent record. So, yeah, I mean, that being number 1, I don't think anybody can argue that.
Yeah, totally agree. Your choice, this is not easy either, and they're pretty close in ranking on the Rolling Stone. It's 191, The Stooges' Funhouse, versus 145, Steely Dan Aja. And those are 2 amazing albums. It almost depends on where your head is. And you may even say, I would say in this one, I don't know where I would go on any given day, but.
Yeah, this is easy for me. I like Steely Dan. I like Steely Dan a lot. I think Aja, however you pronounce it, I think that's an overrated record. I really do. It's got massive songs. Peg is amazing. I mean, there's some great songs on it, don't get me wrong. I just like the grittiness of their earlier records. I mean, I would go Countdown to Ecstasy. I'd go Katie Lied far before this, but I am definitely in the minority. People love this record. It's listed as one of the top records of that era. Audiophiles love it. I get it. They were a pristine band. But Funhouse, I mean, I love that first self-titled Stooges album. I do, but Funhouse is on a whole different level. I know people love Raw Power. Funhouse is hands down my favorite Stooges album. I just think it's got this swagger. It's like the sweaty. It's just like groovy, down and dirty punk. It's just so good. It's the album that made me love Iggy. So hands down, I'm going Funhouse.
You know what's funny about Aja? I used to also think the same thing, that it was overrated, and I do like some of their other records better. And there are songs that I like better than anything on this, although Peg is incredible. Deacon Blues is incredible. But this album taken as a whole, when I went back and listened to it, I don't know, about a year ago, every song, and it's just got this sound quality to it, like you were referencing with the audiophiles. It's actually now becoming maybe my favorite one true album. I still think Steely Dan, when you do the greatest hits, it's kind of like Alan Parsons. I love the greatest hits. I could listen to Steely Dan greatest hits over and over again. It's just one of those records. But yeah, tough choice. All right, I'm ready.
All right. Interesting matchup here. Van Halen's debut album, which came in at 416. Wow, that's crazy. Versus 11, Elvis Presley Sunrise, the Sun Sessions. What do you think?
It's interesting because both of these records and these artists they were groundbreaking. And I'm going to go ahead and say Van Halen is my choice here, but I will say I love Elvis. I love early Elvis. Mm-hmm. Talking about with the Beatles and I mean, Elvis had a blueprint to a degree with R&B, with country, rockabilly, all those things, but he changed the game. But I can't think of many debut albums I've ever heard that truly changed things, potentially like the first Van Halen album. And I'm really surprised it's at 416. And I'm not giving credit to any record, we've said this all along, just because of its maybe significance or whatever. It's got to be really good. But that first Van Halen record is really good. I mean, stellar. Starting off with Running with the Devil, going into Eruption, You Really Got Me, and then Ain't Talking About Love. I don't know of many albums ever that have started out that strong with those 4 songs, and the whole record is good. Little Dreamer might be one of the most underrated songs they did. No one ever talks about that song. I love that song. Yep. I went back and listened to it and thought, okay, am I just overhyping it? But no, I'm not. Van Halen is one of the best records. I listen to that sometimes, and I marvel at the fact that record's almost 50 years old.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine putting that on your turntable when it came out and going, when you got to Eruption and going, what in the world is this?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge Elvis guy in that era. I love that era. I'm just shocked that that's 11. I'm very shocked that Van Halen's at 416. I think that I would think that Elvis Presley, the self-titled album, the one from 56, I would think that that would be his signature album. Sunrise is my favorite stuff. I love the Sun Sessions, but they're rough quality recordings. I mean,
Yeah.
they're very folky. A lot of times it's just him and a mic. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think it's overrated in this. I love it. I absolutely love it. Van Halen 1 was an absolute masterpiece. It absolutely changed the game for rock and roll. It changed the game for metal, hard rock, just the whole landscape. You could have flipped those numbers, and
Yeah.
I would have been totally cool with it. So
Yeah,
I'm right there with
absolutely.
you. Yep.
And it also spawned a million wannabe guitar players.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's only a handful of albums ever made that you could argue might have influenced guitar players more than the first Van Halen record.
He didn't invent the finger tap, but you could fool 99.9% of the population that he didn't, because he's the one that put it on the map.
It's kind of like Bob Marley with reggae. He didn't invent reggae, but he damn sure he's the guy overall. Okay.
Yep.
This is a really interesting choice. You know what I got to say about this list? I think there's more bangers on this 16 than any round we've done so far.
For sure.
I am sick that there's a couple of these records that I already know aren't going to make the Vinyl 4. All right.
Yeah, I agree.
311, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic versus 183, Willie Nelson, Red-Headed Stranger.
I told you this when we were previewing this going into this round last week, at the end of last week, and this is my least favorite. I mean, the last one you'll see is definitely brutal, but this one's up there too because I really want to go Willie. I love Willie, and that's a great, great album. It really is. But Blood Sugar Sex Magic is just absolutely iconic. Mm-hmm. You can't. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know if people know too many songs on Red-Headed Stranger. If anything, 4 or 5 huge songs on. I mean, Blood Sugar Sex Magic put them on the map. I thought Mother's Milk was excellent. I'm not going to be the cool guy that goes, "Oh, I was into them early on. It's Uplift Mofo Party Plan or nothing." I'm not that guy. The minute Mother's Milk came out, I go, "This band is different." And when this came out, I go, "Holy mackerel!" I still think it's their best album. This album alone to me could put them. This and Mother's Milk could easily put them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's that big. It's massive. So I'm gonna defy the rankings here, but I got to go with 311, not the band. 311, the number. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I got to go that. But I'm sorry. I love Willie. Absolutely love Willie. If you would have matched Willie with the Stooges, it might have been even harder, easier. So this was brutal, but I just got to be honest.
It is, and I love Willie. I love the concept albums that he did at that time frame, but I would have gone Blood Sugar as well.
All right, this one's tougher than and I don't know how you feel about the second album. I know you were into some hip hop, but it's a big album. You have Richard and Linda Thompson. I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight. So good. Versus Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full.
Yeah, I wanted to give it a fair shake. I'm a huge Richard Thompson fan, and I love Shoot Out the Lights. I love this record as well. I'm actually a huge, huge Richard Thompson fan from the 70s in general, 70s, even his early 80s stuff.
Yep.
But I went back and I listened to the Eric B. record, Paid in Full, and I was really impressed.
It's incredible.
The delivery style, the sampling that they did, and thinking back to the time that they released, I think it was 87. I mean, this is early hip hop. I mean, this is just when hip hop was becoming commercial. I listened to it and I thought, okay, this is a really tough choice. In the end, I'm going with Richard and Linda Thompson. I just think it's one of the best records of that genre. The Eric B. Rakim record is so good, but there's an element to that when I listen to it now that I hate to say it's dated, because you have to put things in perspective, just like an Elvis record and plenty of others that we love. But there wasn't enough of that when I went back and I tried to give it a fair shake that said I got to elevate this above the Richard Thompson. I tried though, I
Yeah,
really did,
yeah, I
but
get you.
in the end, it's Richard Thompson for me.
Yeah, I love the dated rap, so I'm all about it. Give me some De La Soul, give me some
Mm.
some Tribe Called Quest, give me some Eric B and Rakim. But
I,
I agree with you. I said this last time when we were previewing this. I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight is my favorite Richard and Linda Thompson record. Overshoot
yeah,
Out the Lights. Yeah.
they're really close for me too.
Yep.
All right, your last choice. This is crazy too that this is 379. 379 Oasis, What's the Story? Morning Glory
Mm-hmm.
versus Jimi Hendrix Experience coming in at number 83 with Axis Bold as Love. This is not easy.
It's easy for me only because this is kind of like the way you felt about, Sergeant Pepper's. Axis Bold as Love. I mean, I know Electric Ladyland is amazing. Are You Experienced in itself could be, I mean, those are both, I think a lot of people love Electric Ladyland. That might be their favorite. Are You Experienced is like a greatest hits. Axis Bold as Love has always been and will always be my favorite Jimi Hendrix Experience album. I love this album so much. I love the playfulness they have with songs like Wait for Tomorrow and Spanish Castle Magic. I absolutely adore this record. I love What's the Story, Morning Glory, but it would have to take something really, really big to supersede Axis. It's just such an epic record for me. When I bought that, you remember the 4-disc box set you would get, which all 3 albums, and then there's like some B-sides and stuff they had on CD back in the day. I mean, I couldn't stop playing this record because it didn't have as many of the hits as some of the other records. And I think that's why it will always probably rank as maybe the third tier level, the third album of theirs. Maybe, I could be wrong. But that's what I like about it. I've never been a big greatest hits guy. And I just think the material on this album is so, like I said, playful. I've always loved this record. So this one will, as long as it's in my court, which it's, unless I discard it, it's in my court. So as long as it's in my court, this thing will go deep for sure.
All right, so you're Jimi Hendrix all the way.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go back through. I'm going to review my 4, then your 4 choices to this point, and then the 8 discards. And then we'll get into the grueling matchup here of figuring out how do we get down to 2 each. Okay, my choices to this point. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Damn the Torpedoes, the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Van Halen, and Richard and Linda Thompson, I Want to See the Bright Lights Tonight.
Yeah.
You have Paul Simon, Graceland. You have the Stooges, Funhouse. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic, and the Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Bold as Love. Now, I'll go through the 8 discards. I mean, this is these discards, Craig, I'm not just saying this. There are 2 or 3 here that should be a Vinyl 4 in some of the other rounds. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
For sure.
There are records that we've moved forward that aren't as good as some of these, but here we go.
Yep.
So, we have discards: Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville; Quicksilver Messenger Service, Happy Trails; The Police, Reggatta de Blanc; Steely Dan, Aja, Elvis Presley, Sunrise; Willie Nelson, Redheaded Stranger; Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full; and finally, Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory. Oh my gosh. Okay, so me, Tom Petty, the Beatles, Richard Thompson, and Van Halen. I love that Oasis record so much. I know you love Oasis. We both do. I've always loved that album so much. But then I've been really on a Steely Dan kick with listening to Aja.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I would discard, but I'm going to discard Richard and Linda Thompson, and I'm picking up Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory. So now mine are Oasis, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Van Halen, and the Beatles.
Okay.
You got anything you want to pick up?
Yeah, you threw mine off because I thought for sure you would go.
Were you going to pick Oasis back up?
I guess we could still get it. I just thought you would. Yeah. That's all right though.
I like to keep you guessing.
Yeah, I was hoping to pick up another one. All right, so I have Paul Simon, The Stooges, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Jimi Hendrix. I'm gonna trade Paul Simon Graceland for, of course, the Police Reggatta de Blanc.
Okay. And I know that's not an easy choice for you. Graceland it's such an incredible album. And another game changer. I mean, bringing
Absolutely.
world music to the forefront.
Yep.
I mean, incredible. Okay. All right. Because I get to go first and get the first redemption round pick, I also have to narrow down right now my two first.
Yep.
So I'm staring at Damn the Torpedoes, Tom Petty, Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's, Van Halen, and Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory. I've been really thinking about this a lot. I knew where this was all headed. I kind of figured you were going to pick the Jimi Hendrix, so I figured I'd pick up the Oasis in the redemption round. So I knew where my four was going to be. It's crazy to say this, but the first one out is Tom Petty, Damn the Torpedoes, and I hate that. I mean it.
I was like, why couldn't you do that so that I could pick it up? Because that was going to be my second pick. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. I know it's so hard. That is one of my favorite rock and roll albums ever, but I can't pick it over. All right, Beatles are safe. Sgt. Pepper's is safe. So I'm down to Van Halen and Oasis.
Yep.
And Oasis changed everything for me. They got me into Britpop. They've been one of the bands that I have always stayed with, and I know you have too. There's never been a time in my life where I haven't had Oasis. You know, I might go a month or two without listening, but I am listening to some Oasis almost at least every couple of months for the last 25 years or whatever.
Right.
So I got to go with Van Halen.
Van
Halen to me, it's one of the greatest debut albums of all time. And
100%. Yeah. Good
I
call.
just can't vote against it. It's so hard because for me, Tom Petty should be a Vinyl 4, and it would have been if I would have done it the right way. For you.
For sure.
Oasis should be a Vinyl 4. But yeah, for me, it's Beatles and Van Halen. And I knew it all along. I knew no matter what, those were going to be my two final choices.
I did too. You'll see a tab further down on that. It's a list. I've already created CV's guest on 16 at the very end. You'll see it. One's thrown off, though, because I thought I would get Tom Petty. I guessed wrong because, I mean, in your heart, you're like, I have to at least have him in my own personal Vinyl 4. So I get it.
Yeah.
Next time, we got to figure out a way to discard strategically so we can keep these things.
Isn't that what makes this so great, though? I mean, there is truly no gaming to this thing. Because the thing is, I could have done that, but I would be lying to say I like the Richard Thompson record better than the Tom Petty record. I just don't. And then that Oasis, man, the Oasis threw me off. It really did. So, all right.
Yeah.
I gotta live with it. Here we go.
All right. Well, so I'm down to, I have the Stooges, Funhouse. I have the Police, Reggatta de Blanc. I have Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And I have Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Bold as Love. Axis Bold as Love, as I said before, is staying. So that's safe. It comes down to Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Police, and the Stooges. Jeez. Man. This one's tough. I got to be honest. You know, if I'm cool, I go with Funhouse. And it is a huge, huge record. I'm more of a Police fan than I am a Stooges fan. Even though it's 191 for the Stooges, 373, I don't care about that. So I'm going to boot the Stooges real quick. They're gone. Sorry, guys. I lost my street cred, but that's all right. The Police, Reggatta de Blanc versus Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I'll dispel any mystery or myth or anything. My favorite album from the Police is Zenyatta Mandata. Always has been. I love that album. Reggatta de Blanc is up there. I would go Zenyatta, Ghost in the Machine, then Reggatta, and then Outlandos. That's me. Some people are like, where's synchronicity? It's not a... So I'm going to go Red Hot Chili Peppers. I can't believe I'm doing this. But, I mean, it's that big of an album. And I was shocked when I looked in my collection. I'm like, I don't own it. And
On vinyl.
that's, yeah, how do I not own this record? I don't love a lot of the stuff that they're putting out more recently, but I loved Californication. I really liked By the Way. I like those comeback records. I like most of the stuff they've done with Frashani. I love the record, so I'm just being honest. So Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Boldest Love.
All right.
So.
Okay, question for you. We usually don't do this.
Yep.
This is kind of revisionist here, but if the Tom Petty would have been available, would it have defeated Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And if you look, if you look at that sheet, go to the far right and just scroll over, you'll see CV's guess on 16, and you'll see that's what I had. Man. So there was wishful thinking. I mean, because think about it. Look at that. If we could, and look, Red Hot Chili Peppers stands in here. It's just not quite as iconic as Jimi Hendrix Experience, Axis Bold as Love, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Damn the Torpedoes, the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and Van Halen. That, to me, would make the best Vinyl 4 we've had, bar none.
Yeah.
And we discarded so many classic records.
I mean, seriously, Steely Dan, Oasis, it's unbelievable. All right, so to wrap this up, it's Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Van Halen, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yep.
And, oh, wow, I lost my... What was your other one?
Oh, Axis.
Oh, Axis Bold as Love.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix Experience. Okay, so Hendrix, Beatles, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Van Halen. 4 iconic bands. Yeah, that's the toughest round we've done yet. So we've hit the halfway point. We're not going to give it away yet, but Craig and I are going to take the first 16 rounds now. 4 times 16 is 64, right? Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to take the 64, the first 64 that we've selected, the 16 Vinyl 4s, and we're going to match them up because we feel like this is a good time. That's the halfway point. The choices that we just made on this one are going to be 3 times tougher when we start narrowing down our Vinyl 4s. It's going to be brutal, but I think it's time to share that brutalness with everyone. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Why don't we, in wrapping up here, why don't I go through, just for a glimpse into the future, let's go ahead and do the round 17 preview, just to get everyone, or do we
we don't have, so we haven't done because we have a recap that's coming next. So do you want to do the recap? And so we'll do our 4th recap, and then we'll take from each recap, which is a sweet 16 of our Vinyl 4s, just narrow those down to a Vinyl 4.
Yeah, we can do that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, with that, we'll wrap up here. I'm going to go listen to, probably going to go listen to Damn the Torpedoes. Feeling really guilty now.
I know, right? And I don't know. I honestly, I looked at this list early on, but I just don't remember what's in there. I would imagine Wildflowers from Tom Petty's got to be in there, right?
Got to be.
Maybe Full Moon Fever. He's got so many great records, man. I've got all those early records up through, I think, Into the Great Wide Open. I love all those records. I think Southern Accents is a very underrated record. Mm-hmm. I love that band. I absolutely love that band. So we're gonna get one in there. We're gonna get a Tom Petty record in there for sure.
It just won't be right if we don't. So
right. For sure.
All right. Well, Craig, awesome job.
Stuff.
Love it. Everyone, thank you for listening, and we will be back next week with a big old recap.